Define domain-based GPOs. You can create domain-based GPOs in ADDS and store them on domain controllers. You can use these GPOs to manage configuration centrally for the domain's users and computers. When you install ADDS, Windows Server creates two default GPOs. Default Domain Policy. Default Domain Controllers Policy. Note, Windows computers also have local GPOs, which are primarily used when computers aren't connected to domain environments. Default Domain Policy. The default domain policy GPO is linked to the domain, and it applies to authenticated users. This GPO doesn't have any WMI filters. Therefore, it affects all users and computers in the domain. This GPO contains policy settings that specify password, account lockout, and Kerberos version 5 authentication protocol policies. These settings are of critical importance to the ADDS environment and thus make the default domain policy a critical component of group policy. You shouldn't add unrelated policy settings to this GPO. If you need to configure other settings to apply broadly in your domain, create additional GPOs that link to the domain. Default Domain Controllers Policy. The default domain controllers policy GPO links to the OU of the domain controllers. Because computer accounts for domain controllers are kept exclusively in the domain controllers OU, and other computer accounts should be kept in other OUs, this GPO affects only domain controllers or other computer objects that are in the domain controllers OU. You should modify GPOs linked to the domain controllers OU to implement your auditing policies and to assign user rights that are required on domain controllers. Create and configure a domain-based GPO. You manage GPOs by using two primary tools: the Group Policy Management Console, the Group Policy Management Editor. You can also use Windows PowerShell CMDlets to manage GPOs and their settings, including those described in the following table. New GPO. Creates a new GPO. New GP link. Links a GPO to a site, domain, or OU. Get GP inheritance. Gets group policy inheritance information for a specified domain or OU. Get GPO. Gets one GPO or all the GPOs in a domain. What can you manage with GPOs? There are two major categories of policy settings: computer settings, which are contained in the computer configuration node, and user settings, which are contained in the user configuration node. The computer configuration node contains the settings that apply to computers, regardless of who logs onto them. Computer settings apply when the operating system starts, during background refreshes, and every 90 to 120 minutes thereafter. The user configuration node contains settings that apply when a user logs onto a computer, during background refreshes, and every 90 to 120 minutes thereafter. Within the computer configuration and user configuration nodes are the policies and preferences nodes. The policies nodes in computer configuration and user configuration have a hierarchy of folders that contain policy settings. Because there are thousands of settings, the scope of this course doesn't include individual settings. However, it's worth reviewing the types of settings that you can configure. Apply security settings. In the Windows Server operating system, GPOs include a large number of security-related settings that you can apply to both users and computers. For example, you can enforce settings for the domain password policy for Windows Defender Firewall, and you can configure auditing and other security settings. You also can configure full sets of user rights assignments. Manage desktop and application settings. You can use group policy to provide a consistent desktop and application environment for all users in your organization. By using GPOs, you can configure each setting that affects the representation of the user environment. You also can configure settings for some applications that support GPOs. Deploy software. With group policy, you can deploy software to users and computers. You can use group policy to deploy all software that is available in the .msi format. Additionally, you can enforce automatic software installation, or you can let your users decide whether they want the software to deploy to their computers. Important. Deploying large software packages with GPOs might not be the most efficient way to distribute an application to your organization's computers. In some circumstances, it might be more effective to distribute applications as part of the desktop computer image. Manage folder redirection. With the folder redirection option, it is easier to back up users' data files. By redirecting folders, you also ensure that users have access to their data regardless of the computer to which they sign in. Additionally, you can centralize all users' data to one place on a network server, while still providing a user experience that is similar to storing these folders on their computers. For example, you can configure folder redirection to redirect users' documents folders to a shared folder on a network server. Configuring network setting. By using group policy, you can configure various network settings on client computers. For example, you can enforce settings for wireless networks to allow users to connect only to specific Wi-Fi network SSIDs and with predefined authentication and encryption settings. You also can deploy policies that apply to wired network settings, and some Windows Server roles use group policy to configure the client side of services such as direct access. Troubleshooting the application of GPOs. Group policy inheritance, filters, and exceptions are complex, and it can often be difficult to determine which policy settings will apply. RSOP is the net effect of GPOs applied to a user or computer, considering GPO links, exceptions such as enforced and block inheritance, and the application of security and WMI filters. RSOP also is a collection of tools that you can use to evaluate, model, and troubleshoot the application of group policy settings. RSOP can query a local or remote computer and report the exact settings that apply to the computer and to any user who has logged on to the computer. RSOP also can model the policy settings that are anticipated to be applied to a user or computer under a variety of scenarios, including moving the object between OUs or sites or changing the object's group membership. With these capabilities, RSOP can help you manage and troubleshoot conflicting policies. The following tools exist for performing RSOP analysis: the Group Policy Results Wizard, the Group Policy Modeling Wizard, gpresult.x. Demonstration. The following video demonstrates how to create, configure, and apply GPOs. The main steps in the process are: 1. Open the Group Policy Management Console. 2. Navigate to the Group Policy Objects container. 3. Create a new GPO. 4. Open the GPO for editing and modify some user settings. 5. Link the GPO to the contoso.com domain. 6. Sign in to a client computer as an administrator and enable remote event log management and WMI through the firewall. 7. Sign in as a standard user and review the effect of the GPO on the local computer. 8. Create a new GPO, edit its settings, and link it to an OU. Review the inheritance settings. 9. Change the security filtering settings so that the policy only applies to a group and not authenticated users. 10. Verify the effect of the change of inheritance and security filtering.
How to configure and manage group policy settings. So we start off by opening the Group Policy Management console from the Windows Administrative Tools menu. I expand the Contoso domain, and I'm going down to the Group Policy Objects container. I create a new Group Policy Object, and it's called Contoso Standards. I click OK. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to edit that policy. So I right-click on the Group Policy Object, I select Edit. This opens the Group Policy Management Editor. I'm going into the User Configuration node, Policies node, System node, and the first policy I'm configuring is Prevent Access to Registry Editing Tools. I enable that policy, and then I click Apply, and then OK. Next, I expand the Control Panel node. I select Personalization. I then select Screensaver Timeout. I enable the policy and I set it to 600 seconds or 10 minutes. I click Apply, I click OK. I also open the Password Protect the Screensaver policy and turn that to Enabled. I click OK. I close the Group Policy Management Editor, and back in the Group Policy Management console, I right-click on the domain level and link the group policy I just created called Contoso Standards to the domain. I click OK. Next, I switch across to a Windows 10 computer and sign in as a user Ty. This Windows 10 computer is part of that domain, so I'm going to check the policy impact. I open up Control Panel, and the first thing I do is I view the screensaver settings. So I see if I can change the screensaver when logged on as Ty. And we see here that all the screensaver settings are actually greyed out, meaning I can't change any of them. I click Cancel. The next thing I do is I try and run a registry editing tool. I run regedit, I click OK, and I see that registry editing has been disabled by your administrator, which is the impact of the policy applying to this particular Windows 10 computer. I sign out of the computer. I switch back to my administrative server. I go to the Seattle OU and I create a GPO and link it to that particular OU. That GPO is called Seattle Application Override. I select Seattle Application Override and I edit that GPO. I go into Administrative Templates again. I go into Personalization again, like I did previously, and I go to the Screensaver Timeout policy. I open that policy and set it to Disabled. I click Apply, I click OK. I close the Group Policy Management Editor. Now at the Seattle level, I go to my Group Policy Inheritance tab and I verify that the Group Policy Object, Seattle Application Override, that I just applied at the OU level, overrides the default domain policy and also overrides the Contoso standards policy. I then go to the Seattle Application Override policy, and I'm going to configure the security filtering for that policy to ensure that it only applies to specific users and specific computers. When I do this, I get a warning saying removing the authenticated users group may prevent processing of policy. In this case, I'm going to add specific security principles which will enable policy processing for those specific users and computers. So I click Add. I enter the user group, Seattle branch users. I check the names to make sure I've typed it correctly. I click OK. I then click Add again, and I type in the computer name, SEACL1, which is my Seattle client Windows 10 computer. I check the name. I click OK. What I do then is I select the Group Policy Results page, right-click on that, and run the Group Policy Results wizard that allows me to calculate the policies that apply to computers and users. Here, I select the computer, SEACL1. I check the name. I click OK. I click Next. And then I specify that I want to check it for Contoso Ty, and I click Next. I click Next, and the results wizard runs to calculate the group policy result. So I get the result and I scroll down here, and what I can see on this report is that the applied GPOs are Contoso standards and the Seattle Application Override policy. So the appropriate policies are applying, as well as, of course, the domain policy. What I'm also interested in is the policies in the Administrative Templates area and Control Panel Personalization. So I click Show. So I see here which policy is winning in terms of policy application. So the Screensaver Timeout policy applied at the OU level disables that setting, and that wins. The Password Protect the Screensaver, which is only applied through the Contoso Standards policy, wins because there's no setting in the Seattle Application Override policy. In this demo, I showed you about configuring and applying group policy objects in Windows Server 2019.